Here's a quick recap of how the Women's World Championships in Nice unfolded. Starting off with the big news that it was going to be a wetsuit swim. Not many people predicted this, and it sure was going to change things up, especially after the news that Lucy Charles-Barclay wasn't going to be starting. That meant this swim was anybody's guess. And sure enough, there was the big surprise of Kat Matthews being in the front pack. She eventually came out of the water just 30 seconds back from the leaders. Chelsea Sodaro was also there, 45 seconds back out the water. But it was Fenella Langridge and Marta Sanchez who were the first ones out the water in what was a really quick swim. Hannah Berry and Marilyn Pierre were also there, two fantastic swims for them, and it would kind of signal how the rest of their day would go. Then 3 minutes further back from them was Laura Philipp and Anne Haug, looked in prime position to work together to catch up on the bike. However, 200 meters outside of transition, Anne Haug picked up a bad cut in her tire that was unsalvageable, and there was no mechanical support to be had, and she had to drop out of the race. It was all Marilyn Pierre though on the bike at the beginning, opening up a big gap on the likes of Kat Matthews and the front pack chasing her behind. Actually, by the 40-kilometer mark, she'd already opened up a 3-minute gap. And maybe this was because she had actually been training with Lucy Charles-Barclay in the lead up to this race, and she had also switched to being coached by Reese, Lucy's husband. So it was clearly paying dividends, and she was quite far ahead of some of the other women in the field, the likes of Alice Alberts, Nikki Bartlett, Jackie Herring, Ruth Assel. They were all about 10 minutes down already by this point. Indy Lee, another one of people's dark horse favorites for this race, she was 10.5 minutes back. Els Visser 15 minutes back, and Danielle Lewis was 18 minutes back. And seemingly out of nowhere, Laura Philipp managed to bridge that big gap and made her way to the front. Kat Matthews at this stage said she was told by her coach that she had a 3-minute gap on Laura, but then out of nowhere, 2 minutes later, Laura had rode up on her, and she was definitely the better climber. She dropped Kat right away, and it looked like she was going to be away for good. She just caught up 3 minutes out of the swim. Surely she was the way better cyclist, but no. Laura did manage to bridge up to Marilyn first, but Kat resurged and put in a big effort to make sure she'd caught up to them by the time they got to the plateau, and from there they rode all the way together. Marilyn wasn't able to hang on, which is surprising considering her familiarity of the course, but Kat and Laura were just too good between the 120k mark and the 140k mark, and they descended like crazy back into town because they had such a gap on everyone coming into transition. They ended up with 7 minutes on Marilyn Pierre and 10 minutes on Chelsea Sodaro, who honestly rode pretty impressively there to get off the bike in 4th spot. When you put it into context of how well Kat and Laura rode, it makes it even more impressive. Laura rode a 5:02, Kat rode a 5:05. Marilyn was the closest to them with a 5-hour, 12-minute bike split, and then everyone else pretty much averaged between 5:20 to 5:30, with probably 5 hours and 30 minutes being the average. So for them to do that well on the bike and then run as strong as they did off of it was incredible. When they started going out from transition together, it was anybody's guess who was going to win this one. Kat managed to get out first, but Laura was quickly on her heels. Laura did say she really felt that bike ride in her legs when she started, but she also said she was in this flow state. She was just fully focused on the entire race, and the more the run went on, you could really tell. Whereas for Kat, it was kind of the opposite. Her run began to unravel. Eventually, she had to stop and walk, looking really, really bad. We didn't even know at this point whether she'd be able to finish the marathon, but somehow again she managed to resurge and got back going again after taking in some nutrition. But by this point, Laura was so far ahead. She was running incredibly well and was putting even more time into the rest of the field. Eventually, that meant she came home with a 2:44:59 marathon to become the Ironman world champion, the first ever one here in Nice. She was so emotional, and rightly so, crossing the finish line. An unbelievable day for her. One of the best bike run performances we've ever seen, one of the best Ironman performances we've ever seen. It was truly remarkable. Kat Matthews then finished 8 minutes back, and still with a 2:53 marathon was really good. She said she was a little less happy than her team was about the result. Obviously, that run is going to haunt her a little bit. A lot of us would have liked to have seen her go all the way with Laura to the finish line, but it's hard to see anyone beating Laura on this day. Chelsea then finished further back behind those two on the podium. She was extremely happy for Laura, obviously relating to when she won her first title. And then impressively and well-deserved, Marjolaine Pierre, 24 years old, in her hometown with the backing of her home supporters, she finished in 4th place. Incredible. And then Nikki Bartlett, an unbelievable 5th place finish for her. Not many people would have picked her in that spot, but truly well deserved. Then some other notable results. There was quite a few DNFs, the like of Els Visser, Ruth Astle, Rachel Zelinskas broke her collarbone, and many more. But then there were some other good names who picked up some decent results. Jackie Herring got a 9th place here. She stays at the top of the Pro Series, although with 40 minutes back from first place, she didn't get many Pro Series points. Same with the likes of Hannah Berry, who picked up a 10th place. She was still 47 minutes back. Penny Slater, though, 7th place, and Marta Sanchez in 6th place. Really had races of their lives. Lottie Wilms as well in 8th place. They were still over 30 minutes back themselves, but you just can't compare them to what Kat and Laura did up front. This course was definitely tailor-made for them. And I guess the one last question I will leave you with is how well would they have done against Lucy and Anne, the two late withdrawals from this race. Kat and Laura have both never beaten Lucy and Anne in a full distance, but judging by these performances today, especially Laura, you'd have to imagine she still would be crowned the Ironman World Champion right now. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Love to hear from you. We'll see you in the next one.